If you're over 60, this video might just prepare you for what most people only learn too late. Because life after 80 isn't always what you expect, and these 5 harsh truths could change how you see your future. Aging past 80 is like stepping into a new season, one that's beautiful in its own way but comes with surprises that can catch even the most prepared off guard. They're about the emotional and social shifts that reshape your days, from how connected you feel to how much control you have over your own rhythm. Let's start with the first reality, one that creeps in so quietly you might not notice it at first. The first reality is, one of the earliest changes I felt after 80 was how my social world started to shrink. It wasn't dramatic, no one stopped calling overnight, but the rhythm of my connections changed. Friends I used to see at the coffee shop or church started moving away, getting sick, or passing on. I'd find myself sitting in my favorite armchair, the house quieter than it used to be, with more hours alone than I expected. At first, I brushed it off, thinking I was fine on my own. I've always been independent, never one to need a crowd. But over time, that silence started to feel heavier, like a presence of its own. This isn't about being lonely in the way people talk about it. It's a subtle shift, a realization that the easy, natural flow of friendships and family gatherings isn't as effortless anymore. What helped me was leaning into the connections that still mattered, calling my oldest friend every Sunday, even if we just talked about the weather, or inviting my granddaughter over for tea. Those small moments became my lifeline, reminding me that a few deep bonds can mean more than a room full of acquaintances. What I've learned is that this shrinking social world is something almost everyone faces after 80, but it's not a dead end. You can't control how often people visit, but you can reach out, even in small ways. I started writing letters to my kids, not long ones, just a note to say I was thinking of them. To my surprise, they'd call or stop by, touched by the gesture. It's like planting seeds. You don't need a big garden to grow something beautiful. If you're feeling that quiet in your own life, try making one call today, or ask a neighbor to join you for a walk. Those little steps keep your world alive, and they remind you that you're still part of something bigger. The second reality is, another reality that hit me hard was how small health issues don't stay small anymore. In my 60s and 70s, a cold was just a nuisance, pop some soup, rest a day, and I was back to my routine. But after 80, I noticed even a sniffle could linger for weeks, draining my energy in ways it never did before. A little bruise from bumping my shin took forever to fade, and one time, a simple stumble in the garden led to a sprained ankle that needed physical therapy. It wasn't just that my body was slower, it was less forgiving. Missing a meal or forgetting to drink enough water could leave me dizzy or foggy for the rest of the day, and that was a shock. I'd always prided myself on being tough, the one who powered through anything, but suddenly, my body was demanding more attention. This shift isn't just physical, it's emotional, too. There's a frustration, almost a sense of betrayal, when your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. I remember feeling angry after that ankle sprain, not just at the pain, but at myself for not being stronger. A doctor friend told me something that stuck. After 80, your body's margin for error gets thinner, so you have to treat it like a valued friend, not a machine. That meant slowing down, drinking more water, and giving myself permission to rest without guilt. It wasn't about giving up, it was about protecting what strength I had. I started keeping a water bottle by my chair and setting reminders to eat regular meals. Those small changes made a big difference, helping me feel steadier and more in control. The third reality is, one of the most jarring changes I noticed was how I started to feel less visible in social spaces. It's not that people were rude or unkind, but there was a shift in how they responded to me. I'd walk into a family gathering or a community event, and the room didn't light up the way it used to. I'd share a story, only to have someone talk over me, not because they meant to, but because they assumed I was done. Or I'd repeat myself, thinking I hadn't been heard, only to realize folks were just distracted. It felt like my age walked in before I did, like my years were louder than my words. This loss of visibility isn't personal, it's cultural. Our world moves fast, celebrating youth and speed, and after 80, you can feel like you're standing still while everyone else rushes by. At first, this made me shrink back, thinking maybe my voice didn't carry the weight it used to. But then I decided to keep showing up, to keep speaking, even if it meant repeating myself or waiting a bit longer to be heard. I started sharing my stories with my grandkids, who soaked them up like sponges, asking questions about the old days. Those moments reminded me that my presence still matters, especially to those who take the time to see me. What helped was finding my people, the ones who listen, who value what I bring to the table. If you're feeling overlooked, try speaking up in small ways, share a memory with a grandchild, write a letter to a friend, or join a group where your stories are welcomed. You're not invisible, even if the world sometimes forgets to look. Your wisdom is a gift, and there are people out there waiting to hear it. The fourth reality is. Another reality that sneaks up after 80 is how your daily life starts to feel smaller. It's not that you wake up one day and everything's gone, it's a gradual shift. I used to love my busy routines, morning walks to the bakery, afternoons at the community center, evenings with neighbors on the porch. But over time, those routines changed. Going out felt harder, my knees weren't as cooperative, and the effort of getting ready sometimes outweighed the reward. Friends moved to retirement homes or passed away, and my favorite diner closed down. My world didn't collapse, but it shrank, bit by bit, until I noticed I was spending more days inside than out. At first, this felt like a loss, like the life I loved was slipping through my fingers. But then I realized this wasn't about giving up, it was about redefining what a full life looks like. My world was smaller, but it wasn't empty. It was just different, and different can still be rich. What I've learned is that a meaningful life doesn't need to be big, it needs to be intentional. I started small, calling a friend once a week, planting herbs in a pot by my window, or watching old movies with my daughter over video chat. These moments became my new routines, proof that joy doesn't need a grand stage. If your days are feeling quieter, try one small thing to keep your world alive, maybe a short walk to the mailbox or a call to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Those steps add up, and they remind you that your life still holds so much possibility. The fifth reality is the unpredictability of your own body. One day, you wake up feeling like you could take on the world, clear-headed, steady on your feet, ready to tackle your garden or a good book. The next, you're hit with a wave of fatigue, or your knees decide they're not cooperating, or your hands fumble with a jar you opened easily yesterday. It's not just that things are harder, it's that you can't predict when they'll be hard. These moments weren't just inconvenient, they felt like my body was betraying me, changing the rules without warning. This inconsistency does more than slow you down, it chips away at your confidence. I started hesitating before leaving the house, not because I couldn't go, but because I wasn't sure what my body would do. Would I be steady? Would I need to rest halfway? It was humbling, especially for someone like me who'd always been the do-it-all type. At first, I fought it, pushing myself to prove I was still the same. But that only left me exhausted. What helped was adapting, not resisting. I learned to pace myself, planning shorter walks, resting when I needed to, and keeping a chair nearby for tasks like folding laundry. Simple things, like stretching in the morning or eating a protein-rich snack, helped me feel steadier. It's not about fixing everything, some days will still be off, but about giving yourself the tools to roll with the punches. If you're feeling this unpredictability, try one small adjustment, like setting a rest break during your day or asking your doctor about exercises to boost balance. Those steps can bring back a sense of control, and that's pure gold. Now, let's bring it all together. Life after 80 comes with realities that can feel harsh. Your social world shrinks, leaving more quiet moments than you expected. Small health issues turn into bigger hurdles, demanding care you didn't need before. You might feel less seen in a world that rushes by. Your daily routines narrow, changing the shape of your life, and your body becomes unpredictable, challenging your confidence. These aren't easy truths, but they're not the end of your story. They're part of a new chapter, one where wisdom, resilience, and intention can shine brighter than ever. I've learned that facing these changes isn't about fighting them, it's about adapting, finding new ways to connect, and treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a dear friend. What I love about this journey is that it's never too late to make it meaningful. When my social world got quiet, I found joy in small connections, like chatting with my neighbor over the fence. When health issues slowed me down, I discovered the power of rest and hydration. When I felt unseen, I shared my stories with those who listened. When my days felt smaller, I filled them with new routines. And when my body surprised me, I learned to listen and adapt. Which of these realities resonates with you most? Maybe you felt the silence of a quieter house or the frustration of an unpredictable day. Drop a comment below and share one thing you've noticed or step you're taking to navigate it. If this video has helped you see aging in a new light, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more insights for thriving in your golden years. I'll see you in the next video.